thanks for who you are, what you do for us. That God, that you are a comforter, that you're a good father to us, God. I just ask right now, Lord, that the families that are here, that are represented, God, that you lay your hand upon them. Touch them. God, let us look to you for our guidance. Let us look to you for our comfort and healing, God. And right now, God, for this meeting, I just ask that you be with us. Let us do things that are pleasing to you. And we give you all the praise and glory. We thank you for your Son that you sent, Lord, that through him that we would have eternal life with you, God. And that in all the things, Lord, of this world that happens and that we deal with, Lord, that we keep our eye on what's important, and that's you. I ask that you be with us and forgive us in Jesus' name. Amen.
Everybody ready? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we start, we certainly want to remember our Heartline family. We have a loss of Danny's brother, and we certainly would like for you to keep them in your prayers as they go through the days ahead.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll call the meeting for on the roll call.
Commissioner Hartline,
Here, man.
Commissioner Todd,
Here.
Commissioner Foster,
Here.
Commissioner Miller,
Here.
Commissioner Gill.
Here.
Next on the agenda is approval of minutes. We have minutes from a special meeting held on September the 26th. Has everyone had a chance to look at those?
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
Commissioner Hartline, Commissioner Todd,
Yes.
Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill.
We also have regular session minutes held on September the 28th. Has everyone had a chance to look at those?
Yes.
Your motion?
Make a motion to second.
Commissioner Hartline,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Todd,
Yes.
Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill.
Kevin, do you think building permits?
Got two this morning, Andrew Herbert for a new home, no subdivision or floodplain issues, 0121-00242-1. That's recommended for approval. Next one is Jason Manise, 052403-830E. It's for a new home, no subdivision or floodplain issues, recommended for approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Hartline,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Tiller,
Yes.
Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill.
Kevin, do you have anything on it?
We're still mowing. Hopefully John's asked about that going, so it might look like we're actually doing something now. And we blew the engine up at Yellow Sugar last week, and so we are in the process of replacing that. We found one in California, and it's being trucked here. So we should be back on the road next week to finish up the last 4 or 5 loads of oil that we can afford. So that's kind of where we're at. We're on hold right now, but we got the old engine out, new one's on the way.
Thank you. On county finances, we're going to be talking about the budget a little later in the meeting. Under old business, resolution to transfer 2018 budget appropriations, that's to be tabled. Under new business, included payment of bills report. Has everyone had a chance to look at the bills? Any questions?
Make a motion, we pay our bills.
Commissioner Hartline,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Tiller,
Yes.
Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill.
Yes. Next on the agenda, resolution establishing certain fees of the county clerk and recorder. And that is tabled. Also, an ordinance to adopt and implement predictable reporting fee schedule is to be tabled. Next on the agenda is an intergovernmental agreement between the state of Illinois, the Illinois Emergency Management Agency, and the county of Union. This means the state of Illinois and the county of Union, of course, as IEMA is concerned. Angie, you had a discussion with Dana. This is the standard agreement that we sign each year.
Yes, he said you signed the same agreement at the beginning of the year, but his grant requires the agreement to be signed again at the end of the year, and that there's no changes to the grant.
Okay. So what we're asking for is for the board to give me the authority to sign this agreement for IEMA. And
But
that's
this isn't for next year.
No.
Okay.
Dana says it's the same grant paperwork that you signed at the beginning of the year.
You can do that in form of a motion.
Yes.
I make a motion, we give you the authority to sign the agreement.
Commissioner Hartline,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Tiller,
Yes.
Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gill.
Next on the agenda is the intergovernmental agreement relating to the funding of the HyperReach mass notification system. We have an intergovernmental agreement that, and I know you talked about this at previous meetings, and I know the board's been supportive of this.
All this is just an intergovernment agreement. They'll reimburse us for their portion of it. I think it's $309 and some change per year. For each entity, there's 16 different entities that's going to help us pay for this. So that's all that is. That in that Tyler's reviewed it and he's approved it. So we asked for a 90-day written notice from any of the entities that decide to back out or not renew for the next year. And we didn't we deleted the auto renewal out of the agreement because I felt like that if we didn't like this service, that we could look for other services, or, you know, if there wasn't enough to participate, then we may not be able to do it at all, so.
That was my question, Sheriff. If several entities opt out, then who picks up the slack?
Yeah, well, and then we'd have to make a decision if we, because obviously the cost would go up for each person or each group that's involved in it.
So is this annual? I mean, what I'm saying, they're asking for annual, so this is renewed annually on their payments?
Yes, but we would assess how many, entities are involved in it. Right now, there's currently 16.
Oh, okay.
So if we have 16 going forward next year, then we would continue. My understanding is this is what the rate's gonna be, $49.50, I think, a year total. So, we just have to look at it year by year.
Yeah, because undoubtedly there's more entities than what we thought, because we were
Correct.
shooting for a $500.
That is correct.
Okay, we're good, okay. I just wondered if they dropped out, who would pick up the slack, but we've got some cushion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
So if you say the rate stays the same?
That's what we've been told, so we'll just have to see what they say next year. If they would increase it, then we would have to obviously increase that a little bit. I understand that there's one more community that wants to get involved probably for next year, and that's Alto Pass. So if they would get involved in it, then that would be one more, so.
Okay, no, we're better than we thought.
Yeah.
So, need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement.
Second.
Commissioner Hartline?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Tillman?
Yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Gould?
Next on the agenda is the School Violence Prevention Program. And what we're looking for here is sign off authority for me, and Scott, just real quick, the grant's been awarded, and
That's correct. And Southern Five helped us write this grant, so I've already mentioned it to the schools. If they want to continue for her to monitor the grant and do that, that would be a cost that would have to be paid out of the schools and split, because the sheriff's office initially paid, I think it was almost $3,000 for her to write the grant for this out of our anti-crime fund. So and I've asked them that now that they've got the grant, that they would pay for that if they continue to want to use her. I hope they would, because she did a great job on Tiffany Childers from Southern Five, did an awesome job getting her done.
Would that cost be that much or less, or?
I forgot there's an hourly rate, what she charges. It's reduced because we're a member of that, but I don't recall, Max, what that hourly rate is, but that.
It'd probably be a little less.
I would hope so, yeah. I don't think there's gonna be that, because initially there was a lot of time involved getting it rolled, because there's some things that she had to do to even prepare for it.
Right.
But there was a lot of man hours involved in it. I wouldn't anticipate there would be that much more just to maintain it and monitor it. But that's something that county will have to worry about, because I've already discussed that with the superintendents of the schools.
Scott found out about this grant and contacted her, and she just basically dropped everything. Worked on it for almost 2 weeks straight.
Yeah, basically that grant was wrote about 15 working days, because we didn't get notification to it. I think it was after the holiday, July 4th. And so I reached out to the schools and got all of them together, and they got their wish list together essentially. We got it to her, so she had it wrote by probably the 24th or 25th, because the deadline was the 30th, and we wanted to make sure that we met that deadline. And I was concerned that we were gonna be able to make it, but we did, so that paid off for us, so.
We were 1 of 60, is that?
1 in 60 in the nation, I understand 1 out of 7 in the state that got the grant.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. And it was $357,375 what was awarded. It's an 80-20 grant, and I think the max that we could get was $500,000. I think the request was $497 is what we requested.
And the 20% will be paid with schools.
That's correct.
Any other questions? Need the board to give me the authority to sign off on here.
I make a motion to give the chairman the authority to sign
Same.
the program.
Commissioner Hartline?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Tillman?
Yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Gould?
Next on the agenda is Shawnee Development Food Pantry request from Paul Stairs.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm here to request money as usual and everything. And I just want to fill you in just a short amount. Each month we do serve 128 senior boxes and everything. Plus, we have about 25 more seniors that comes in for a regular food pantry that is not eligible for the senior box. So we try to add extra things to those bags. Most of the seniors that we serve does get food stamps. A lot of them doesn't, but some of them does. And it's only $15. So this food goes a long ways for those seniors. If they don't get food stamps at all, and a lot of them will not apply because it's such a small amount and everything. So what we do is with the money that if you allot us, we make special bags up for those seniors and everything. And those are set aside. They go out with those senior boxes. It's not commingled with our other food and everything. We do have to put USDA food in those bags also, but we're only obligated to put one item of USDA food with that. But most of the time we put more with that and everything. So with the money that we have, we purchased locally here, and also we purchased from Tri-State Food Bank, which is our USDA supplier. And so we can get food a lot of time from them for 14 cents a pound, or sometime at no cost at all, and everything. So at the present time, it's October. Our food pantry is very lax in food right now, and everything. We have, for some reason, the USDA has let loose a lot of meat. So we are pretty well supplied with meat and everything, but canned goods, we need canned goods. We need other items and everything. And hopefully, with the holidays coming up, it seems like people are really generous with food pantries. And so we kindly look forward to the holidays, but it's a lot of work for us too. And on a sad note, we had one of our refrigerators go out. So we're gonna have to purchase a new refrigerator because we had to keep that at a certain temperature. We're inspected by the USDA, plus we're also inspected by the people that handles the senior boxes. So we go through monitoring every year. So takes a lot of room to store 182 packages of meat and cheese and everything. So what I'm asking for is $5,000, and hopefully that will last us making wise decisions, you know, that we can add to our senior boxes each year. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
No, you did a great job.
Yeah. You do.
Very good.
And I want to commend Bobby helps unload the truck, William, Tom, you know, we got a lot of good people. And let me tell you, a lot of times they unload 10,000 pounds of food in an hour. So, thank you.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions? Motion. Second.
Commissioner Garland,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Tillman,
Yes.
Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Next on the agenda is appointment to serve on the University of Illinois Extension Board, Norman Bauer. I have letter of recommendation, from the University of Illinois Extension Service. Recommending. And, it's for a 2-year term. And based on their recommendation, I'll make a motion to appoint Norman Barr to the University of Illinois Extension Board.
Second.
Commissioner Hartline?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Tobin?
Yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Gould?
Next on the agenda is appointment to serve on the University of Illinois Extension Board. Chris Boyd. I also have a letter of recommendation from the University of Illinois Extension Service for Chris. And at this time, I'll make the motion to appoint Chris Boyd to the University of Illinois Extension Board for a term of 2 years.
Second.
Commissioner Hartline?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Tobin?
Yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Gould?
Next on the agenda is the environmental assessments and determinations and compliance findings for PET-assisted projects. 24 CFR Part 58. An environmental review has been done by the firm of Eggemeyer Associates Architects for the Housing Authority of the County of Union. And we need to, Angela, we need to approve that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you're
it-
given the authority to sign.
It would have to be approved by the county. The land use authority has to approve the housing authority's study.
So all we're doing is approving, I mean, we're just accepting the reports.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I make a motion, we accept the report and give the chairman the authority to sign.
Commissioner Hartline?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Tobin?
Yes.
Commissioner Foster?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller?
Yes.
Commissioner Gould?
Yes.
Next on the agenda, discussion on budget for fiscal year 2019. And we'll come back to that in just a second. Next on the agenda, discussion on purchasing ordinance, and we're going to table that. Tyler, I have a question on this. Mr. Mayor has requested that we go into executive session to discuss security issues at the county.
Okay. I might need to know a little more about that, but I'm sure we can make that determination.
Okay, so, okay, I'm to that part, so, you need to talk with him before we.
I would need to know a little more information to give you my opinion.
I'm sorry?
Would you give our state's attorney, a little bit of information so we can determine what statute we can go in for executive session?
The discussion that I needed to have actually surrounds multiple things. First and foremost, I do think it's time we did a status update of where we've been at with, different departments, where we're at with our deployment. It does include some of the stuff with security, what we've been doing, some of the things we found. So the next topic is we need to talk about FOIA requests and emails, which is how we, I think, need them asked, how we need to have them asked from us, okay? We're a little bit, I think we need a little bit of direction on who has the rights to ask for certain information, and it's, we're a little sketchy on certain things. And some of the other things I need to talk about are just some basic things dealing like when a technician's in the building and stuff like that with users. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, probably I can leave some of the security stuff out of it. It's just normally when I come down to talk, when we're talking about IT and the status and where we're at, we normally go into an executive session. So.
I would say most of that's probably gonna have to be discussed in open session. Why don't we do that? And then, the security issues, we can see where it goes with that, and we can go into closed session to discuss that. I mean, that's my opinion. It's your decision.
Would you like to go ahead? Sure, I can start right now. It really doesn't bother me either way. Well, as I'm getting back from vacations, my brain's a little cloudy. I'm getting back to work again. Okay, so right now, as far as the status of our deployment is concerned, Tyler's office for the most part is done. He was the most critical one we needed to work on, so State's Attorney is for the most part migrated over to new hardware. If anybody would like to see it, by all means, it's downstairs in the Sheriff's office. Okay? So we had a few lingering issues and whatnot with their software and printers and things like that. I think we've kind of gotten them pretty well wrapped up. We are dealing right now next with moving the treasurer's office, but we're having some difficulty with Fiddler because they want to charge some money for moving Fiddler into new hardware. And we've talked to other counties that we've moved with Fiddler that have not been charged. And for some reason, Fiddler wants to charge you guys for the same thing that they've not charged other counties for in the past. So I'm working with Angie right now. We're trying to get that figured out. And as soon as we do, then we can start making the plans for moving the treasurer's office for Fiddler and stuff like that. So a few other things as far as the status of what we've been doing. Yesterday or the day before, I actually went through a lot of the tickets and things like that that I've been seeing, support requests, okay, that have been coming in. And I'm actually pleasantly happy to report that in just about every ticket, except for maybe one or two outliers, any issue that gets put in with us gets resolved inside of 3 hours. And it's not just a callback, it means it's actually fixed within 3 hours. There have been a couple of cases where some problem has come back, but it's been immediately readdressed again and done. So that was good to see. I also would like to say that at this point too, we're actually now getting, in the beginning we were getting a lot of tickets, for a lot of different things surrounding a lot of different directions. And in the past month, we've actually gotten more tickets for website updates than we have for IT problems, which is a good thing. So it means I think we're at least kind of curbing some of the issues, even in the middle of doing our deployment, migrating everything. So I think we're on track with how we're going and what we're doing. So. So next little thing, that's kind of our update on the deployment. I don't exactly have too much more. I'd like to say though, at this point, since Angie asked me the question this morning, ambulance is fully secured now. They have been for a few months. Okay, so all firewalls, wireless, everything's all 100% up to par. So we're really good to go there. So, and so is also the network security here for this building at this point. Okay, so we're still just in the migration. Tyler had brought up an issue with wireless, upstairs. We can't get to the wireless until we get the servers and all that infrastructure stuff done first. There's just I don't want to get into all the technical details about it. There's a reason why we have to do the server side before we can get into the wireless and let people roam around. So, next is, I have asked my technician, Sam Huff, who's here most often. He tells me that when he comes, and this is very normal, that a technician walks into a building and everybody raises their hand, but nobody's putting a ticket. So the problem that we're seeing though is that he'll end up coming here. He might be scheduled for like 2 or 3 hours to take care of a couple things, and he ends up being here for 8 hours. And he kind of leaves himself. At the same time, it would be nice if maybe some of those things could be held, handed or dealt with remotely, things of that nature, as opposed to being here on site. Because honestly, we can handle things remotely a lot faster than him running around from all over the building. At the same time, he tends to get, and this is just the nature of any technician. If you got 10 people raising your hand, you don't know which way to go first. Everybody's asking stuff. So
I kind of asked Sam to inform the users that, you know, hey, if you've got a problem on here, that's great, I can take care of it, but I need to email support before I can do this, just so they have a copy of that ticket. And maybe if we've got Sam on something dealing with the deployment, maybe another technician can help to step in to take care of, you know, some kind of other issue that's not surrounding what Sam's doing, you know. So I was just wondering if it'd be okay if we kind of sent that memo around to, you know, everybody in the building saying, hey, please email support if you got a ticket. If you see Sam in the building, that's great, you can ask him for help, but I think we need to make sure that Sam can stay on par with the things he's got to do in the order that, you know, they need to get done. So, not a big deal. So, last but not least here, so I believe last week I received an email from Scott, and Tyler was CC'd on it, and Raleigh was CC'd on it, asking for emails. Okay, this wasn't a FOIA request, so honestly, at the time, I didn't exactly know how to handle it. So,
Should this not be an executive session file? Using names?
Well, I don't think the issue is the content of what the request is. I think that the bigger issue is just, I think, as the legal officer for the county, I think I have the authority to review any of the county's materials and any emails from anybody in the county or public property. So I would really just like for some clarification on that, I think I mean, and I think the board would be in agreement that I or the county administrator have really the authority to review, just as you do, the emails, or the sheriff or the clerk have the ability to view emails because they're public property. But I think in my role, I think I definitely need to have access in any other documents and ensure that
the issue kind of, and I mean no disrespect, but I don't know if you know, Scott's allowed to have emails of the board members, and frankly, I don't really know if Tyler is allowed to have it without some sort of FOIA request or some kind of request from the board. I don't know, so I basically kind of put the brakes on everything because I didn't know what to do, and honestly, I didn't want to overstep my bounds or, you know, get in trouble really for anything that we should not have done. So. And I think this kind of brings into a bigger point that, let's say a department head wants access to one of their own employees, you know, emails or something like that. That kind of brings up kind of a similar situation where I don't know if it's okay to give that department head access to one of their employees' emails. So I think that, I guess my point is that things like that come up, I think we need direct direction from the board on if we are allowed to hand that over or not.
If I may, I understand that. I absolutely understand, Mr. Mayor, that him wanting some clarification on that, because obviously you're the ones that sign off on his contract and see that he's paid. I just think we need some direction and clarification. I think really any of those requests, if there's a question, should probably be routed through me or Angie.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I think as a general matter, anybody, assuming it's not exempt from FOIA, which is a determination that I would probably make. So I think realistically, those kind of things probably just need to be run through the state's attorney's office, unless you all.
No, and I would agree
differently.
with that.
But I completely understand Mr. Mayor when to get
Oh,
clarification.
no, I think he's doing the right thing.
I would also if it were me, so I don't fault him for that, but I just want to make sure we're all on the same page there. And I don't think this particular matter is going to be anything that's going to take very long to get resolved. But I just think as a general matter, yes, a department head or a supervisor should have immediate access to an employee's email. But I think if there's any question about something, it just needs to probably come through me or Angie.
I have a question about it then. So it doesn't need to go through FOIA so that it's
Not if
out
it's,
there and available for,
well, if it's an internal issue, then no, I don't think it's a FOIA issue because it's not going to be going outside of the county.
I mean, like a department head wanting their employees' emails. Is that
Well,
something that needs to be handled as a FOIA request?
I think that probably needs to go through the state's attorney's office just to confirm what the issue is. But
As FOIA or not as FOIA?
no, it's not a FOIA issue because it's all internal. The emails don't belong to me or you, the emails belong to the county. So-
Right.
Right, so
And I
that,
thought that's how it was handled with FOIA. If the email belongs to the county, you submit a FOIA request.
it's not going outside of the county. This is for internal purposes, so it's not, if it's somebody requesting it as a private citizen, then yeah, it needs to go through FOIA. But if you're requesting it for a compliance purpose or an internal purpose, then no, I don't think so.
Can you write a policy or procedure or something, just as a general notation, so that we all know 2 months from now or 3 months from now, exactly what you just said?
And I would appreciate that, because I would like to have that down on our side of saying, well, here's what the rule that we made was, regarding this. So if me or any of my techs do something like this in the future, that we're kind of abiding by whatever rules that we've kind of laid out for this.
If we want to adopt a policy on that, we certainly can. I don't really think it's that complicated of an issue, but if we need to, we can.
I mean, if one of the email from one of their employees needs to go through you, I mean, it's as simple as that. But
Well, I don't know that it really would have to. I think it should, but I don't know that it has to. I mean, I don't know that.
I know I would like to say it has to go through.
Yeah, I understand that. I think that's the best practice, so.
Oh, I do too.
Had something in writing.
Yeah.
It said it had to go through
Yeah.
you. That would cover everybody. That's what it should be.
I don't think it needs to be detailed, I
Yeah.
think it just needs to be a couple paragraphs.
That's fair enough. I think we can do that.
Yeah, and I do think that's a good thing, that way, that takes it out of the question if somebody says, well, do I have to? Yeah, you did.
And don't misunderstand, I'm not really wanting to insert myself into all of these issues. I just think that when you look at the broader issue, the issue is the county complying with its obligations.
Absolutely.
So that's my, one of my
I get
roles, to
that.
try to ensure that we are complying with our
I think that
obligations.
would protect everyone.
Yeah.
If we did
And it's kind of interesting, and let me give you real quick a little backstory, but up in, I forget what county it is, but there's a.
St. Clair.
St. Clair, thank you. There's an IT person, the head of IT for St. Clair County, basically is now being investigated and all kinds of stuff because there was a request for emails of internal people that he gave out, and now apparently he wasn't supposed to give out. So, and now he's being investigated, could literally go to jail for 20 years and all kinds of stuff like that. So that's why this, when this request came up, all of a sudden it was like, well, wait a minute here. We just need clarification.
No, and I understand
So,
your stance completely.
I have no problem giving any, I mean, it's not my information, and it's nice that we're outside of the county. I don't care about anything that really happens here, and whatnot. My job is just to uphold whatever I'm supposed to do for the county.
Absolutely. No, I get it from your end, and I agree with State's attorney.
Okay. So, and last but not least, on the whole email issue, I would like for anybody that's going to be requesting FOIA, that they actually start sending the official FOIA request to us as well. That will allow us to verify that it is an official request. So, and not to say that anybody would do anything underhanded or whatnot, but otherwise we wouldn't know.
If I were you, I would ask for the same thing.
Right. So, I think for the most part, that's all I had. I'll just leave this curious about it. It's not really any big deal. We are just moving forward. So, any questions about anything?
Anytime I've called, you guys have been great for my service.
All right. I appreciate it. So, have a great day. Okay?
Good, thank
Thank
you.
We'll catch up later.
Yeah, I'll give you a call.
Sounds good. Okay, thanks.
Hey, before you guys leave, are you guys gonna put the memo out to all people that we need the tickets, or do you want that to be internal, or are you guys gonna do that?
So I'll coordinate with Angie.
Okay, that's great.
I'll send something.
Yeah, and I think just as a reminder, I think that's a good thing, so that everybody is aware that there's a procedure we need to do.
Yeah, I don't mind Sam being here for 8 hours. If he needs to be here, then that's.
No, I get it, I
It's
get it.
just, it's just more about the organization of the stuff that needs to get.
No, and I understand, and if that's the procedure that we need to follow, then we need to do that. For one thing, it's keeping track for us on how many tickets are going out, because if they come in and do some work and there's no tickets, then we have nothing to gauge on a couple of years from now when the contract's out.
Exactly, yeah.
And I get it.
It'll give you guys oversight and,
Yeah.
what our response times have been and things like
Absolutely.
that. So it protects you guys as much as it does us.
Actually, Sam was here yesterday and probably worked on 8 or 9 or 10 different issues. but it all actually came down into 2 tickets, but there was way more than that, so it just clarification.
I think it's good on both ends. I just wanted to make sure that, because if we're talking about somebody notifying that it doesn't drop through the crack, that nobody did it.
Sure.
Okay. All right, buddy.
Can I ask Mayor something before they leave real quick?
Yes, ma'am.
If something's deleted from an email, can you retrieve it from the server?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, we actually had everybody on litigation hold, so
Okay.
nothing is ever gone,
Okay.
period.
All right, thank you.
Have a great day.
Okay, let's go back up on the agenda to discussion on budget for fiscal year 2019. We need to take about a 10-minute break to get set up. We're gonna start talking about revenues for the budget, so
Can,
just take about.
can I bring up the issue that I emailed the board about yesterday, just briefly? I don't think this should be a pretty non-controversial discussion, I think. So, I just wanted to update you on the IMRF issue with the ETSB. Angela had reached out to IMRF, and the issue is how the IMRF is going to be managed with the joint ETSB, because it's its own entity, whereas the current ETSB is sort of overlaps with the county. This new entity will be its own unit of government, essentially created by the intergovernmental agreement. So I think what we're going to need to do, based on the discussions with IMRF, is obtain a new IMRF account or number for this employer, and then any employee of the joint ETSB will have to be listed under a different number when our IMRF is turned in and managed. There is an alternative. The employee could remain an employee of the county, but I really doubt that Alexander County is going to want to do that, and I don't know that that's really feasible or ideal. Not my decision to make, but so I think what we need to do, if we're going to go with the first option, is contact IMRF, and we may have to make some minor additions to the intergovernmental agreement, which I can talk to you about. So.
Well, and that would be my question, is that something that would be in the agreement, or is that something that the new board of that board would discuss?
I think it's something that's going to have to be put into the agreement based
Okay.
on my conversation with the attorney at IMRF. And also it's something I think that would really need to be in place before the board comes into existence, in order to ensure that the IMRF I think it would be a little harder to go back and fix it. I mean, I'm sure it could be done, but I think it would be better if it was in place when the new board came into existence.
And if it was in the agreement, then whatever board would be, it's in agreement.
But
starts.
ultimately, the decision is up to you all and the Alexander County Board. It's not really, the joint ETSB board would be operating under whatever decision.
Okay, and I get that,
make.
yeah, and
So-
that makes sense.
Yeah, and so I think ultimately what would happen is all of the benefits, as I think we contemplated, would be administered by our county, but just on the paperwork, when it goes to IMRF, the ETSB employee would be separate, under a separate account. And I've discussed that with the employee. I've discussed it with Angela yesterday. So I think Angela needs to do a few things, and I need to do a few things. We'll need to either amend the intergovernmental agreement or sign an additional document relating to that and get that approved probably before December 1st.
So bottom line, we'll just have 2 accounts.
I think, yeah, basically. And there are a couple related issues, but I don't know that we really need to get into that now. I think I know what we need to do, and it'll obviously come to you for approval.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear cut, so we just have to talk with a few people and figure out how we're going to do it mechanically, and then we'll bring it back to the board before December 1st.
Sounds good.
That's no problem, Angela, by December 1st.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't know Angela was in here. I would have let her speak to some of that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm in contact with Christine Fine and trying to find out the details. What the process is, so we'll work it out.
I didn't know you were in here either, Crystal, I'm sorry, so.
That's okay, I'll have to do a modification to the plan that I filed with the state. So keep that in mind, that that's gonna be part of that approval process.
Right.
If we amend that
Yeah.
agreement.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'll talk to you about those specific changes, and you can.
Okay. Let's take a short break and then we'll start it on the budget. Maybe about 10 minutes.
Crystal, you wanna just discuss that right now?
Sure.